This is Chili Willie, ECW, everybody's favorite homeboy, the ghetto superstar, and you are watching and listening to Stu's Podcast.
You're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It's time for British Wrestling's sharpshooter, your host, Stu Palmer.
A warm welcome, it's episode 81 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast, and I have got former Ring of Honor talent Rico De La Vega. Rico has worked many facets of the wrestling business. He has been a commentator, a pro wrestler, and also a manager for talent over the years. He talks about his relationship with Damien who was Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor, and all the help he's had from him. Rico even talk about Rico's favourite top 3 matches when he was a kid growing up. It's always hard restricting him to 3 matches because we all know that we could have like a list of 50, maybe 60 matches that we love. But yeah, without further ado, my guest, former Ring of Honor talent. You can see him on AAW Live presently too. It is Mr. Rico De La Vega for episode 81 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast. Enjoy. My guest all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin today, it is Monster Factory trained Rico De La Vega. You would have seen Rico on Ring of Honor, wrestling, announcing, managerial roles throughout.
You name it.
You've done quite a lot in this business. I'm looking forward to getting to hear about your career, sir, I tell you. And a big thank you to Justin Clapper at Wrestling Travel, the host of Lockdown Sessions, for putting us in contact. Good dude, Mr. Clapper. We love Justin. He's a top man. Rico, what's been happening over the past 12 months for you, man, with the pandemic? How has it been for bookings and stuff of that nature? I'm going to go with that first.
Yeah, as far as the pandemic, obviously everybody knows what's been happening for the past 12 months. Very confusing time, not only in the world, but also in the world of professional wrestling, obviously on a job that's dependent on traveling, on, having contact with each other in a very close and intimate setting. It definitely was a game changer. When the initial pandemic had started, bookings have slowed down, like almost overnight. With the restrictions and everything put in place, I think they tried to milk a few more shows out. But after that, it pretty much started dying down. I was down to about maybe 1 show a month. And obviously with the proper precautions, temperature was taken, masks were worn, social distancing was definitely a part of the show itself. So I picked and choose where I would go. I myself, I was getting tested and stuff. I've never been one of those people that, post the I voted sticker and stuff, where I don't feel the need to post every time I get tested. I have nobody or nothing to prove to anybody but myself, and the person that I'm going to be working for. So to go on a public forum and say, hey, I got the vaccine, look at me. It's never been me. Rico De La Vega is a complete different creature in comparison to who I am in my everyday life. So he wants to be on the spotlight, but not me. So as the booking started slowing down, it just kind of became somewhat of I just kept getting the itch to do something. So, and I could only compare this to maybe a drug or something. Wrestling, when you're used to doing this just about every weekend, every month for the entire year, once it starts slowing down, you kind of just sit there and get fidgety. You need something to do, whether you stand in front of the mirror and cut promos, what you should be doing anyway if you want to get better. Or just, thinking of storylines or thinking of movesets and stuff. You have to consume yourself with some type of wrestling because this is what I do. This is what I love. And this is what I potentially would want to make my, my main source of income. But the past 12 months, as it started slowing down towards the end of the year, it did begin to pick up a little bit as far as planting the seed for later dates. So I'm very happy about that. I was fortunate enough to get a few bookings there back in early January, February, and they started getting more and more. I've exclusively been working for Gali Lucha Libre, which has been, the main place I've been working at on a monthly basis. And again, all precautions are taken. It is a closed taping too. But yeah, up until now, I just went to Mania Week. I was in Tampa.
Oh, wow.
And I was fortunate enough to work a couple shows there and be involved with a few different companies as well. So again, it's a new way of living, and it's a new time, of taking precaution, especially in the wrestling business. Again, we're all in an enclosed, intimate setting, shirts off, sweaty. Like, I get it. I understand. So we want to be safe, but that's what we do, and that's what we love to do. So it was kind of like riding a bike again and seeing everybody thrive together. We were having outside shows, and just seeing everybody there together, enjoying wrestling and there for the sake of wrestling gave me hope again. You know what I mean? And I have a feeling that here in the near future, maybe the next couple months, things will be getting more and more normal until it's like back to where we used to be, but just maybe a little bit skewed.
How was the vibe in Tampa, Rico? I'm going to ask you that, like doing the shows last week over there.
Man, the vibe was insane. So as soon as here's the thing. I guess I'll shout him out. Dan Perch, hell of a ref, hell of a person, hell of a human. He's one of the first guys I met when I moved to Wisconsin, and great guy. Turns out he was on the flight with me to Tampa. So it started out on a great note. We were chopping it up, shooting the shit. I can say shit, right?
You can. There's no. You can do expletives aplenty, mate. Don't you worry. You can swear. You can swear.
Then I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were on the plane shooting the shit. We get there. I see my buddy Shane Taylor getting off of the plane, and we're at the baggage plane. I'm like, yo, dude, what's up? So boom, even from the jump, it's like, again, wrestling's a brotherhood. It's such a big extended family you have. So I got super excited. I saw Shane. Shane's like, oh, Rico, what's up? And, we just, let me get your number. I'm going to go to my hotel. Let's go ahead and, link up if we can. So boom, right from the gate, I've already seen two really good buddies of mine, and I'm already going to Florida. Now, mind you, this is sunshine, this is beaches, and most importantly, wrestling. So, once I arrived, get to my hotel, the first night we kind of laid back and kicked it. But the very next day, I had a show for Crab Wrestling. It was an outside show. It was phenomenal. The highlight of that day was actually a match between Rhett Titus and Gino Medina.
Now we're talking.
Completely killed, man. I'm telling you, such a great show overall. But that being the main event, definitely it was right where it belonged. So I had a blast there. Just a bunch of good brothers and sisters getting together and seeing some good wrestling, just hanging out and just there again for the sake of wrestling. Later that night, I ended up going to For the Culture. Got to see a bunch of my buddies. I'm originally brought up in Jersey, so all my Northeast guys, they were all down there, and I got to link up with so many people. I mean, it was just such a wonderful feeling when you're able to kind of see people you haven't seen in such a long time for the same reason. Me being out here in Wisconsin, I don't have anybody out here. We're being completely frank. I have no family. I really don't have many, colleagues here other than the wrestling people. But again, it's just through wrestling I know them. So it was a breath of fresh air to be able to break bread with a bunch of people that I've broken bread with before that are still chasing that same dream. It's really motivating and definitely lit a fire into my ass again. All in all, the trip was great. Met up with my buddy Ace Austin. We went to the gym together and hung out, talked some wrestling the next day. After that, we hit the beach. It was just a vibe the entire way through. But bottom line, it was wrestling. It was a weekend where all of us got together and appreciate such an event such as WrestleMania. That's our Mecca. That's our Super Bowl. We want to thrive there. We want to make sure that when we go there, that we are able to enjoy every single aspect of professional wrestling, despite the past year and despite the drama that can sometimes, be part of the professional wrestling business. But it ended off on a good note. My final show was at the Side Dojo with Matt Seidel. So I got to, talk to him for a little bit. Good friend, such a good dude. And to sit under his knowledge tree is definitely beneficial for any wrestler, and I highly recommend it. But yeah, all in all, the Tampa trip was insane. I had such a blast, and I can't wait for Dallas next year.
I'd be remiss to ask, did you catch any of WrestleMania? Or were you so busy with bookings?
I was going to go.
Yeah.
But Friday night, there were some late night shows, and I basically spent Saturday sleeping the entire day. No regrets, but no regrets.
Oh, no,
Again,
no. Yeah.
it was really cool because this WrestleMania, I've never been to a WrestleMania. This WrestleMania would have been cool to go to, especially since one of the guys that pretty much coached me, Damien, he had a hell of a match. Somebody I came up with in the business, a good friend of mine, Matt Riddle, had a hell of a match with Sheamus. So it's like, damn, it would have been cool to see, just a couple of guys that I've trained with and been coached by, they're doing their thing. But again, stuff happens and wrestling's not over. You know what I mean? It won't be the first or the last.
That's cool, man. I had to ask.
No, of course.
I mean, it sounds to me, Rico, like you were burning the candle at both ends, but you were back with everyone, which is probably the ultimate, isn't it? And I think there's going to be a better appreciation from the fans from what you guys do, as well. Because we've been without it for so long. I'm at that opinion. I think there'll be a newfound, even a bigger respect from the fan base.
I totally agree. You said a mouthful there because I appreciate it more, not only as a wrestler who, is looking for work, but also as a fan. Dude, it was really surreal just seeing wrestling matches with no crowd. It's not the same. I don't care what anybody says. It's not the same. In the end, we're doing that in the ring. It's for them. Like, it's their reactions and their pops and their boos and all that stuff that makes us do what we do. Not to say that we can't do it without them, but it's definitely detrimental to, how we carry ourselves in that ring when they're there. You know what I mean? So it's definitely, after this pandemic thing, the fans are going to love it even more. Wrestlers better start fucking like showing the respect to professional wrestling like that they should have been showing initially. Because it's kind of the concept of like, when your parents, you're fucking around, they take something away from you and you're like, damn, man, that really got me. This is the point where wrestlers and fans alike, but more so the wrestlers should be at. It's like, fuck, man, I almost lost this. Like, this could have been gone. If this would have went sideways and this became some fucking plague, we could have been done as far as a business. Or if they had any restrictions that forbid any type of, congregating, at sports events or anything, that could have been our careers. So if we were to take this a little bit more seriously and overall, just be kind to each other, man. It's such a cutthroat business. I know we discussed this before, but it's such a cutthroat business where people will want to see you do good, but never better than them. You know what I mean? Everybody's going for that same brass ring, so to speak. You know what I mean? So there is a sense of competition, but it doesn't mean we can't all eat together. Play to your strengths. Get yourself there, but get yourself there without having to step on the other guys. Prove to you and prove to everybody else that you can do it on your own. And you're set. But if you have to sit there and use shitty tactics in order to get to where you are or brother it up in politics, then what's it really worth in the end?
That's well surmised, man. That's well surmised about, locker room etiquette and etiquette amongst your peers, man. Absolutely. I think now we can segue into AAW Live out of Chicago. I've spoke to Keith, actually. I think does he run the shows? Keith? Or is he involved?
Danny.
Right,
Danny
okay.
Daniels.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, right, yeah. So how have them shows been with those guys, Rico?
Well, I just debuted. Unfortunately, I think we're about a week away from the episode that I'm on, so I can't really speak much on it. However, it's not just me. It's me and my tag partner, Axel Rico, which we in Galley, we have a faction, which is myself, Axel Rico, and Ricky Cruz. Axel's he's a newer kid, definitely looks the part, great in the ring, but still can learn. That's the best part. He's got so much more to go and he's got potential. So he's definitely an asset to the group. Ricky Cruz, who's a veteran from Puerto Rico, he has done so much in his entire career. I mean, just look him up. Ricky Cruz is the man who you definitely want to listen to, and you definitely want to sit under his knowledge tree because the man he knows a lot. He's been around the block, let's just say. So with us three, we form what's known as La Sociedad Boricua, which loosely translated means the Puerto Rican Society. We're just a faction, 3 Puerto Rican guys with bad attitudes. We kick ass, Danny saw us at a show and he reached out to me and basically was like, hey, how would you like to come on AAW and work with us? You know, we'll see if we can build something off of that. I'm like, shit, why the hell not? You know, I had so many, I worked for AAW when, you know, earlier in my career when as security and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I've been trying to get here for a while. So I was excited. So I was like, definitely what I need to do. So, you know, we got there, we did the show. It was a taping. So, you know, just waiting on the episode to come. But hoping to build some momentum off of that. I've been doing this for close to 7 years. It's good to see a payoff, especially when the last maybe 3 years or so haven't been too good with the whole pandemic thing and me being in a new area where I am not familiar with anything or anyone. So it definitely was trying to adapt has been kind of a rough patch, but this right here, that makes it all worth it. You know, working for AAW, who's produced such prominent names. I mean, even right now, Manser. I love Mance Warner.
I love him too, man. And like, I got to know him more so on MLW coming in, and that man is good on the stick as well. He's good in the ring, but it's his
100%.
His promo. I gravitated to his promos more so than what he was doing in the ring, because he was having some barbaric matches, Rico. But the guy can handle himself on the microphone as well. Very good talker. Very good.
Yeah, Manser's a beast. No, you're fine. Trust me. I get your excitement.
Yeah.
I'm a promo guy myself, so I definitely have an appreciation for that. But no, you got Mance. I was talking to my buddy Fred Yehai. He was at the show and stuff.
Fantastic
so Yehai, you know, they have such a great roster. And if you look in the past, you got guys like Kurt Stallion. You had Riddle on there. You got Myron Reed, who's still with them. Like, so many like prominent names have come out of there. You know, it's just insane that I get to be a part of this. You know, you can't undo that. I'm already written in as part of that roster. So it's like so insane that, you know, here I go 7 years in and I'm like, yes, it's finally paying off. So I'm hoping to build momentum off of it. You know, I just need to do my part, and, you know, me and Axel need to come together as a team. We're going to kick ass and we're going to make it happen.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I want to go back a little bit now. I want to talk about your time with Ring of Honor. I'd love to hear about that. I've been a big fan of Ring of Honor from the inception in 2002. Followed it right the way through. We did get it in the early days. We had a channel over in the UK, the Wrestling Channel. It was defunct after 2 years. But yeah,
Whoa.
I've always followed Ring of Honor right the way through. So yeah, your time in Ring of Honor, Rico. Some of your experiences there. Some of the guys you've got to work with, tear it up with.
Oh man, it was it was an amazing experience. I'll just start it out with that. My time with Ring of Honor started in 2015. I was training at the Monster Factory at the time, and I was sharing my time also with the Ring of Honor dojo. So I would go out there from time to time with Punishment Martinez, who's now Damien Priest. And that was right before Punishment had gotten signed by Ring of Honor. So I would be making my rounds there. And I remember at one point when Ring of Honor came to Philly, they were at the 2300 Arena, and, you know, I wanted to go help out. Silas Young earlier that year had done a show at the Monster Factory, and him and I became tight, which hence is why part of the reason I'm in Wisconsin as well. And we got tight, and then I was like, hey, bro, you know, when are you flying in? I'm probably going to end up going to the event, whatnot. So he was like, yeah, I'm in town, dude. Swing by. So swung by, had some dinner, just kind of kicked it a little bit, you know, talked some wrestling. And he was like, yeah, man, just come on by tomorrow. So went on over, started helping out with the ring, met the ring crew, met a bunch of the boys and stuff, which is great because if we're fast forwarding, a lot of the people on that ring crew are now holding very prominent titles. You know, they're wrestlers, they're commentators, they're in big companies. Like, it's crazy. I love to see that growth. I love to see that. So here I am. He, you know, Silas brings me in, introduces me to everybody that I hadn't met already. And, you know, Punishment Martinez also, he's like, hey, make sure you do this. He was like, Damien Priest is always going to be big brother. You know, he always looked out for me. Him and I were tight, and he always made sure that I was putting my best foot forward, which I'll always be appreciative to him. Like, I remember when I finally got signed by Ring of Honor, he was like, look, people search you on Google, they're going to find you. Everything's going to be looked at. Just make sure you carry yourself the way you need to. It's something that you can't undo. So from here on out, moving forward, you need to watch what you do, watch what you say, and act accordingly. And I'm like, those words have always stuck with me from him. So here I am. I'm doing Ring of Honor and stuff. Great show. I got to work security. I was ringside. I was helping out with streamers. I was like, dude, I'm the best streamer guy around. Let me go in there and slide and get these streamers out. So it was really cool. And I started chatting it up with the boys in the back, and Will Ferrara and I started talking. Then I started talking with Cheeseburger, and they were talking about the tryout that was coming up. So I ended up doing a tryout. Everything was good. Obviously, some polishing on the in-ring work, but they said I really stood out with the promos. So the people judging the promos were Ian Riccaboni, another Monster Factory guy, a good buddy of mine. Kevin Kelly, who's an amazing, commentator. So him and Kevin Kelly, as well as what I want to say, Kevin Kelly, Caprice Coleman, and I want to say Rhett was in there too for the promos. So they said, dude, your stuff really stood out. It was great. You know how to carry yourself, and you know how to work on the fly. So after that, Ian Riccaboni and Kevin Kelly, they talked to me. It's like, hey, Rico, that's you have a pretty good mouthpiece there. You may want to consider doing some commentary or something like that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm definitely open for it. You know what I mean? I started out as a manager. I didn't even start out as a wrestler. So my thing is to be well-versed in a little bit of everything. So that way I'm useful to any company I work for, because, hey, we don't have a spot for a wrestler, but we definitely could use a commentator, or we don't have a spot for a commentator, but we do have a manager position you can fill. Boom. It's all about being able to be used in different places. So that being said, a few weeks passed by. It was like September. They were going to do, I think it was like Best in the World or something like that in October of 2016. Let's see. I'm going ahead of myself because that in 2015, I did my. Give me a second. After I did the initial ring crew and stuff, I came back. I did the tryout. They wanted to try me out for commentary. I started doing Future of Honor. So they put me on commentary with Ian. I did a few matches. Everybody was like, hey, that's pretty cool. And, just kind of went from there. And then it wasn't until later next year I did my pay-per-view, which was my debut on a pay-per-view, which was Best in the World. And I did their Spanish commentary as well. Wow. So, yeah, when I got the email from Hunter and Kevin Kelly, it was like, hey, how would you like to do our simulcast in Spanish, for Best in the World and for, all these different, ended up doing it for Final Battle as well. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So I started doing that. And then the original plan was, so I'm doing the commentary. Obviously, I'm still training at the Monster Factory. I've been managing Punishment Martinez and QT Marshall and Matt Riddle. So, I'm trying to incorporate all of that because obviously, how can I explain it? I went to wrestling school to learn how to wrestle, right? If I already knew how to talk. Nobody had to teach me that. And I say that humbly. If I wanted to be a commentator, I would have just went and gone and been a commentator. So obviously I still wanted to do wrestling. So when in speaking with Hunter and the rest of the people and like kind of telling them, hey, so this is kind of where I'm at right now. I don't want to be pigeonholed to this. So, where can we go from here? So it was discussed that kind of like in the fashion to where, I'm doing commentary, but there'll be a situation where I will need to step out and maybe, do something, not as a wrestler, but I can manage maybe either a wrestler or a pair of wrestlers as I'm trying to break something up, become a heel because I'm usually a heel anyway. From there. So that was talked about, and then to eventually transitioning into maybe a wrestling role. We were all going to play it by ear. It all depended on how everything progressed, obviously. Unfortunately, I never got to that. Things happen. It is what it is. I ended up, I tore both my labrum. And yeah, I got hurt and it just sucked. And I fell into like this real bad depression. So I was like 205 pounds, nice set of muscles, the whole nine. Once I tore both my labrum, I can't work out. So what am I doing now? Pretty much just squats and anything lower body just to kind of keep me going. So I went down to about a sickly 170. So 170 pounds.
Wow, man. That's a drop. That's a drop, man.
Yeah, and tell me, and you know how we were talking about how this is like a drug? My option was either to get surgery on each one, but each one I can't do it both at the same time, obviously. So it'd be this one, heal up for 10 months, then I can do this one, heal up for 10 months. So I'm out practically 2 years out of wrestling, and I'm like, no, I can't do that. So yeah, it's a bunch of scar tissue now, but it just came down to, you know, I did at Ring of Honor, I did a few more gigs and stuff. Once I got hurt, it was like, I just want to step away because it's very discouraging when I'm kind of just sitting there and I'm watching people wrestle and I can't wrestle. And it's like, you know, and on top of that, it was just so much more going on just with life in general. I needed to take a step back, gather myself, and then come back even stronger. So, yeah, I mean, but my time with Ring of Honor, I was with them from 15 when I initially started with Ring Crew all the way. Last show I did was I helped out. Let's see. Probably the end of 2018 was the last time.
Good stretch of time there, Rico. You know,
no, absolutely. I've gone to.
Yeah.
I've shared a ton of moments with a lot of good people, like, you know, and again, just being able to learn from Kevin Kelly and Ian Riccaboni. I was there for Steve Corino's last Final Battle, so I got to kind of break bread with him and speak with him a little bit in regards to, hey, now I'm not saying I'm filling your shoes, but you heading over to the big leagues now, the bigger leagues, I should say. I definitely want to do you justice should that opportunity come for me. So I got to speak with him. The friends I made over there are fantastic. Like I said, you know, Rhett Titus and I, we were just in Florida hanging out together, like, you know, learning from guys like Cheeseburger and John Gresham and, you know, cats like Jay Lethal. I mean, you're just sitting there in a pool of so much talent. If you don't take anything from these people in your time there, then you definitely have wasted your time.
I'm a big fan of Dalton Castle.
Oh my God, he's great. He's amazing.
And not to say, you know, go on to bigger and better. I think he'd be underutilized. He'd be underutilized if he went to WWE. I really believe that. He's better off staying where he is. He's better off staying where he is. He is fantastic. He did me a cameo last year. It was quite funny actually, but just the whole thing about him, just everything. He's got a bit of everything, that guy, man. And I think he doesn't get enough credit. I know he's well known. He deserves more credit than he gets in the wrestling circles.
I completely agree. I think that I don't know. I honestly don't know because he is really talented. Mm-hmm. I remember he worked on a show that I was at in Pennsylvania when he was still Ashley Remington, and he was doing his thing. And I'm like, yo, this guy's really like the real deal. And it was right before he got signed by Ring of Honor. The guy's gimmick, the way he carries himself in the ring, the way his work ethic, it speaks volumes. I don't understand how he's not, on a higher plane right now. And I totally understand where you're coming from. It's frustrating to see talented people be underutilized. And I don't know. I really don't know. It's beyond me because he has a great thing going and the man can wrestle and he can talk. So it's not like it's just, oh yeah, he does some pretty cool moves, but he's mom. No, it's not even that. Like the man can talk and he knows his character, which is definitely key.
I think just the fact Cody put him over, and then I was so made up. I was so made up when he got the world title. I was elated for the guy, man. Honestly, I buy in. When you emotionally invest in a character, and he can go in the ring. He's got the ring. He's got the arsenal in the ring as well.
Yes.
I've enjoyed his stuff with Joe Hendry in more recent times. Them two tagging.
Joe's great.
That was it was great putting them two together, in my opinion. So
yeah, it's great chemistry. You have two, because these are two guys that work. Like they put in the work. They sit there and bust their ass, and every move is calculated. Everything. Notice that in their matches, it looks crisp. Mm-hmm. Nothing looks like it's sloppy. Nothing looks like it's like half-assed. Everything looks crisp. It's robotic without looking scripted or whatnot. So it's a very smooth transition from move to move. And with Dalton's dynamic of a character and then with Joe's, It's like it works. It works, but I don't know. I can go on about this all day simply because I'm like the disgruntled old vet. I'm like, why don't they just do this? Like, this is the easy way you can do it and get over. But no, what do I know? You know what I mean?
How was it doing shows at the Hammerstein Ballroom? I know Ring of Honor did a lot of shows.
Oh my God.
What was it like? Because I go back to obviously ECW being there for years and years. Even the first One Night Stand in 2005 when WWE did the reboot. You know, the mix on the card, it was a proper, like, it was your old ECW guys. The 2006 version was too diluted and too many WWE guys. But 2005, what is it like in the Hammerstein Ballroom, man?
Dude,
it's not
it
the
took
biggest.
me back.
It's not the biggest of venues, but they're just raucous. It's that New York crowd, isn't it?
Brother, it's not even fuck the venue. It's the people that are in it. Like, they'll bring that shit down. Like, I think Hammerstein Ballroom, I think Monday Night Raw episode 1. I think the signs, the siren, woo, 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 when Monday Night Raw would come on. I'm probably aging myself there, but shit, I remember that. It's like, Hammerstein is like, it's its own entity. It's its own place. It's a state of mind. Because, like, you walk in there and it's eerily, it has that old look, but you do know that some great shit happened here. That rustic vintage look suits it so well. Like, I wouldn't have it any other way. And Hammerstein, every time I go there, like, it's cool because the dressing rooms are on different levels. So, like, my dressing room, I remember first time, was it my first time? No, it wasn't. But it was Cody and Brandy's first time at the Hammerstein. So we went over there and we had to share a dressing room because the dressing room that was assigned to me, it was closest to the stage, you know, just made it easier for everybody. So all three of us were in there and we're just chopping it up. And I'm like, well, I'm going to explore the rest of this place. We ended up, me and a few of the guys, like, you know, ended up going to the different locker rooms and you can, like, go through a fire escape in there. It's like really, really eerie, but that vintage feel, like you can't find that anywhere else. And you can definitely associate that with the type of business that we do there, because you walk in there and there's a sense of regalness in there, no pun intended, but just for the fact that a lot of pivotal moments in wrestling happen in there. You know, ECW Invasion, like you got things like that. You got, like, the first episode of Monday Night Raw. You've got ECW 05. Like, you've got, like, so many things that happen in there. And if I have to pick one of the highlights in my career as far as commentary, I was able to do the Joey Styles "Oh My God" in Spanish because
that's amazing. That's amazing.
I want to say it was Final Battle at the Hammerstein a couple years ago. And it was when Dreamer and Bully, when they came out from the crowd and fucking his music hit, and I'm in Spanish, like the play-by-play is just going, oh, what's going on here in Spanish? It's like, ay, Dios mío, ahí está Tommy Dreamer. I'm going insane. And I'm like, fuck, that literally just happened. And I literally put a video of myself. It's like, yo, this has to go again. I'm like, ay, Dios mío, Tommy Dreamer, ahí viene, Dudley's, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm going in. Like, it's crazy. And it's like that moment in time, you can't replicate that, man. And like the building itself, you know, that embodies that whole, oh my God moment in professional wrestling, in my opinion. You know, and just the fact that it is compact, like you said, you know, it's not the biggest venue. The acoustics in there make it so much better. So much better. Everything is crisp. Every slam to the mat is crisp. Every chop to the chest, you hear it echo. Like, it's so incredible. And just the crowd itself, it's not overly, like, you know, to where you can't hear anything that that's going on in the ring, the shit talking, anything like that. So it's such a great experience. I love the Hammerstein Ballroom.
That's cool, man. I like that. I like the fact you can do commentary bilingual as well. That's so cool. That is
well, like I tell everybody all the time, I'm better than you in 2 languages.
Oh my days. Who in Ring of Honor then, over your time there, do you think, I know they're all at a level, they're fantastic. Who do you think could be propelled higher, who hasn't quite gone higher? Maybe going into a WWE, an AEW? Who's a guy
like right now?
Yeah, who's got the credentials, but is still, I'm not knocking Ring of Honor in the slightest. Well, it's great Ring of Honor, but yeah, just someone that you think could go into one of the top two in world teams, maybe even go into New Japan or something like that.
Man, you're talking about like a very. There's a lot of guys I would pick. If I had to pick, okay, so here I'll try to make it easy on me. I'm gonna pick three people that I feel that could definitely be on the next level. This one's long overdue, in my opinion. Rhett Titus. They're giving him his due now with the pure thing and like with the tag championship. Rhett Titus has been a workhorse ever since I've known him. He is the longest tenured Ring of Honor employee, if I'm not mistaken. He, to this day, I don't know if it's saying too much, he still helps out with the ring. That's the type of person that Rhett Titus is. Mm-hmm. And the type of person he is inside of the ring, that in itself just basically personifies who he is. Like, you want that person in your locker room. You want that person to help lead a locker room and teach the younger guys on how to act, what the etiquette should be, what to do in and out of the ring. Like, that's one of your top guys right there. I'm glad he's getting his due now, but that man, if he could still go, that's the thing. He can make it at any other company. He definitely can make it. Not saying he's not making it now. No.
But not in the slightest.
Again, we're picking three. We're picking three that I'd say that they can make it outside of there.
Absolutely.
If I were to take Rhett and put him at any other company, he'll work, bust his ass, and he will thrive, and he will make it. Like, that's definitely one of my top guys that I will vouch for at any moment. Mm-hmm. Another guy, man. I mean, John Gresham's a beast.
Oh my days!
I love John.
I know. TNT, a promotion over here in Liverpool. I know he's worked UK a lot. Jay, who I know very well, the promoter, he's had Gresham on a show. And it's just doing all like the submission style. What can't he do? They say about Dean Malenko, the man of 1,000 holds. John Gresham.
He's an octopus. Why do you think he's an octopus? The man could sit there and grapevine you and turn it into something different, like in a split second. And again, this is another guy who I'm fortunate to have been able to share the dojo with, where he would like teach us some stuff and how to roll around. Definitely somebody you want to learn from. He is somebody who can go with anybody, and I think he's proven that time and time again. Anybody you put him in front of that I've seen, whether it be at Ring of Honor or any other company, he's been able to go and he's been able to keep up. I could see him at any other company thriving. Again, and these people are naming that I'm naming. These are people that I feel that everybody could agree on, that these are great workers, great, all around, just like when it comes to physique as well, that you could put in a bigger company. But again, unfortunately, the way that we see things is not necessarily the way that the bigger companies see it, because they see money, they see a following. Like, for example, if I'm Joe Schmo and I'm on Twitter and I have 20 million followers because I farted in a jar and I lit it on fire and it went viral, and I decided, hey, I want to go wrestle now, the big company is going to look, damn, he's got 20 million followers. That's 20 million potential people that'll buy our merch. That's 20 million potential people that could view our product and can bring more popularity. We're going to sign him over the guy that's been doing this for 13 years, busting his ass, went to wrestling school, does the fucking towns, works out, looks like $1 million bucks. You know what I mean? Like that's the sad reality of it. I'm a small guy when it comes to wrestling. I'm considered a small guy. So I've been told, oh, you'll never get signed. You're a smaller guy. I'm like, yeah, well, I beg to differ. But okay, but that's the type of mentality that we're dealing with, and that's the type of stigma that I would love to get away from.
Absolutely.
Because anybody could be a wrestler. This is, again, I don't know if I'm killing the business, but I mean, shit, what we do, in essence, it is entertainment. It is athletic ability meets entertainment. So who's to say that you've got Scott Hall playing a Cuban guy, you can't have a smaller Puerto Rican playing his part? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's all misconstrued. But again, that's a whole different tangent I'm going off on. But Rhett Titus, John Gresham, if I had to pick number 3 from Ring of Honor that I can place anywhere and he'll thrive, I would probably have to pick. Oh, this is going to be good.
I've got an inkling of who you're going to say.
I'm torn between two.
Shane Taylor in there.
Yes.
Silas.
Brothers.
What about Silas though? Silas.
Those are the two I'm torn between. I was like Shane and Silas.
They're original. They're original, and the business personas have been done time and time again over the years. We know that, don't we? But they've all got something different. These guys. But yeah, sorry, I jumped in. Rico.
No, it's cool. Trust me, I love that you're excited about this.
Yeah.
You getting excited about it gets me excited.
Absolutely.
Because this is what I want for wrestling. I want wrestling to be like it was like in the 90s when like it was cool to like wrestling and watch Raw and talk about it the next day on Tuesday, you know? So yeah, I was torn between Shane Taylor and Silas. Because on the one hand, you have Silas, who's very tenured. He's been around for a while. AAW has a banner of him. Like he did he put in his reps, he put in his work. There's a respect I have for Silas Young. And like I said, he is partly responsible for me moving to Milwaukee and, you know, being in Wisconsin and stuff. But Shane Taylor, that's a whole different beast right there, literally. You know, you got a guy who's fire on the fucking stick. Like the guy can fucking talk. He's very educated. Let me tell you that. Like, just because he beats people's asses, don't mistake that for him not being educated. This is one of the smartest people I've ever spoken with. We've had so many conversations about just like shit, like just anything, but we delve in and we go deep. I could converse with that guy all day. So he's very intelligent. But on top of that, you have such a big militant presence and such a dominating figure just right across the ring from you that could literally come through with one fucking fist and just blast you and you're done. Come on, man. That's money. That's fucking just take my money now. Who would not come to see that? I think that he's like, if I had to compare him, because I don't like making comparisons, but if I had to make some type of comparison, I see him as Mark Henry type, to where he would come, fuck shit up. That's what I do, leave. And that would be enough. But here's the thing. Here's the best part about it. He can go in a ring, do that and leave, but there's so much more he can do because he has so much in his arsenal. So he doesn't have to just stop it at that. It's like kind of, well, I don't want to make this about me, but like, it's kind of like justifying like the fact, like I can do a standing moonsault. I could do the flippy shit, but me as a heel, it doesn't make sense doing it. Like, and not even that, like if I'm beating your ass, and I don't do any flips or anything like that, when I do my flips, it makes it just more special. It makes it stand out more. People will appreciate that more, as opposed to me doing the flip every single time at the show. I'll get the reaction because they know after that flip, here comes the finish. I may beat them at this point. But when it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do any flips or anything. And then, fuck, I'm feeling froggy. Do a flip. Oh, shit, he can actually do it. So like people that are seeing me the first time, they're like, wow, he can actually do shit like that. Or people that have only recently started watching, I didn't know it was in his arsenal. So, you know, it's the element of surprise. But again, I think Shane Taylor brings that to the table because the man is a powerhouse and he is one punch knockout, but at the same time, he can go. I've seen the guy go.
It's great. It's great to see how far he's come in Ring of Honor. From what I remember him when he was first coming through, and then now he's one of the main players.
He started out. He was tagging with Keith Lee.
Yeah.
When he first came, he was tagging with Keith Lee. That's when I met him. I met him and Keith, and like they were just fresh on, and they just started dominating shit. I was like, yo, you guys are really fucking going, because you don't see two big guys move like that. You don't. No. And then at that time, it was like, fuck. I was like, these guys are going to go far. But then, you know, everything with Keith, you know, fortunately happened, which was great for him. Started doing the shows at Evolve, which that was a foot in the door to get to the E. And look at him now, you know. Mm-hmm. So things happen for a reason. Look how Shane's done. So it's not like it was a bad thing that the split happened, because Shane is killing it right now. But again, that between him and Silas, that would be my number 3 choice. So where I can throw him anywhere and he's gonna fucking make it. He's gonna thrive.
Silas just comes across like a guy you wouldn't want to meet in a bar fight. That tough man. It comes through the screen. I'm like, I would not want to fuck with him. Not that I could wrestle.
It's the mustache. It's definitely the mustache.
He honestly there's an aura that you look at him portraying the character and you're like, oh my God, he's a tough He is a tough man. I would not like to cross that man. That's what I always think with Silas. That's what I always think.
He's the last real man. He's the last real man. He portrays that. Like I said, it's the mustache. It just kind of pierces you through the screen.
The stuff with Josh Woods, fantastic. When they've done the comedic aspect, that's
phenomenal.
The vignettes have been brilliant. I've loved all that, like, watching them. And then also when he was with Beer City Bruiser, when they were doing that, and he's done a bit of everything, Silas, hasn't he? He can do a bit of comedy, but he's like straight face, but he's part of the comedy. I like it. He's multifaceted, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I remember one of the first things I saw him in was when he was with the boys, when he took Dalton's boys.
Yeah,
that shit was phenomenal. Yeah. That was one of my favorites. And also when he did we were doing tapings and he was doing it's been this many days since Jay Lethal, has been hurt or whatever, and he's just doing the countdown. Like, he's good at what he does. He's good at what he does, that's for sure.
That's cool, man. I'm going to get back to you now. I think we would be remiss not to talk about your time training at the Monster Factory, being trained by Danny Cage. I know the Monster Factory's been around for years. Even in the UK, we knew about it. Was it Larry Sharp years prior?
Larry Sharp.
Larry Sharp ran that, didn't he? So it's been a great place for people, for talent coming through over the years. So yeah, how were your experiences, Rico, at the Monster Factory with the guys there?
Oh, great. I mean, hell, Bret Hart called it the Harvard of wrestling schools. I mean, I'm very fortunate to have that foundation, and I can gloat humbly about that because the proof is in the pudding, right? Like, look who we've produced. Like, I don't need to name drop it. It's just right then and there. If you look up the Monster Factory and see who we're associated with, it definitely speaks volumes. I started there in 2014 when I first initially began my training. I reached out to Danny Cage through an email. I was like, hey, I see you guys are, taking in students. I would like to apply. I was like, all right, come on in. He set a date. Now, mind you, the Monster Factory where it's at now, it was there prior. It moved around a lot, but initially it was in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Now, a quick story. When I came from Puerto Rico, I was raised in New Jersey. So I moved to Newark, New Jersey, which was in North Jersey. I stayed there for a little bit, but ended up moving to Paulsboro, where I practically grew up. And in Paulsboro was where the Monster Factory was at. So when I was a kid, the Monster Factory was in a place called, it used to be Town Pizza. So it was like a pizza place. And like, you go in there and they had the little ring and shit. And you used to see guys like Bam Bam walking out, King Kong Bundy. It was really cool. I didn't know any better. I just knew, look at those big guys over there. Tatanka.
Wow. Yeah.
So, reaching out to Danny Cage and all that going through my head, I knew that there was history behind it. So that's where I wanted to go. It just wasn't that it was convenient because I lived nearby. So I ended up showing up. At that time, I was 250 pounds, like a very sloppily looking, I was nothing. So I go to my tryout. Danny puts me through everything he needs to put me through. After the fact, he takes me in the locker room and talks to me. He's like, take off your shirt. Promise, it's not going to get R-rated. He says, take off your shirt. Like, okay. So I take it off. He's like, look at you. He's like, you're telling me that you want this, but your body's not telling me. You're not showing me. Like, how do you expect to be in the ring when you can't even like climb up the stairs without like breathing heavily? I'm like, fuck. It's like, all right, I got you. Anybody who knows me will tell you the worst thing you can tell me is that I can't do something. So lo and behold, this was in June. I came back in August. Yeah, I came back the end of August. I went from 250 to 209. I showed up. I worked at a bank at the time, so I was in shirt and tie. I showed up. I was like, hey, Danny, I'm back for my tryout. And he was like, and you are? I was like, I told him who I was. I was like, holy shit. He did a double take. And he was like, well, fuck. I mean, if you're willing to like do that, like for this, and are you ready to start training? And I was like, yeah. And I'll never forget. I was in in my work clothes, and I was so excited to start. And he was like, well, we'll find you some gear. Danny gave me his wrestling shoes. Nick Camarado, who's a freak beast at AEW, gave me his gym shorts, and I worked out in my wife beater. And I borrowed pads from Punishment from Damien Priest.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be a good time. And dude, I fell in love, man. It's like, when you just know. it's hard to explain, but you just know when you're at the right place and where you need to be at that point. It was just such a great experience being there. I was able to be part of such a dynamic within wrestling. That school has produced so many talented people and so many individuals that have gone to bigger and better things. Why not be a part of that? So, and being there and in training, the way that we do training, their strength and conditioning, it got me in the greatest shape of my life. Fundamentals, learning lockups, learning the basics, not just going in there and say, hey, I saw this really cool thing, so I'm going to try it. That's not how you learn how to wrestle. That's how you learn how to do a spot. You have to learn all of the intricacies in order to put something together and tell the story. The Monster Factory for me did that. I'm a student of the game, though. I'm still learning. Like, I am by no means done paying my dues. I am by no means done learning. I'm still trying to get better and hone in on my craft. So let's not get that twisted. But yeah, I was able to be parts of seminars with Jay Lethal, with MVP, with Robbie E, with who's Robert Stone now. Who else? Brutal Bob Evans. So many people. Like, we had Bill DeMott, we had Rudy Gonzalez. We had so many talented coaches there as guests for our seminars. We've been able to do so many cool things just based on the connections that the Monster Factory has. So to get my start there was definitely a step in the right direction in order to get my wrestling career ignited. And if I had the opportunity and still live close by there, I'd still be going to training every single day. I cannot stress enough how important it is to continue your training, because that thing, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's damn sure. And I've learned that during the pandemic.
You hear so much about fly-by-night schools even now. People go into the wrong place, paying a load of money, and it's not a school essentially, but they brand themselves as a school. So it's good to hear that you've had the fundamentals from a world-renowned. It's world-renowned. It's still world-renowned now, isn't it? But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? These people that think they've been trained correctly.
It's a shame, everybody has a dream, but not everybody could be a wrestler. That's the issue. But they're making it seem like everybody can. And the problem is, I've seen Danny Cage turn people away. All right. I've seen him turn people away because simply off of the notion that this probably will not be for you. Mm-hmm. And I feel a disservice by taking your money. You know what I mean? Because it's not free.
That's a good way to be, Rico. You could just say, right, we'll have you. You're not going to cut the mustard. But yeah, that's gracious on his end.
Right. And I've also seen schools in which they take in people knowingly that they're, how can I put this nicely? Let's just say that, as you said, they won't cut the mustard. They just won't. They just won't make that cut. And it's evident, but they will still take the money because they'll still take the money. It's okay. We'll let them roll around. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? What type of scumbag are you? Pick and choose your battles, because again, that spot, okay, not only the fact that he's taking advantage of a person that he has no intention on putting over or putting on a show or anything like that, but you're also potentially taking a spot from somebody who really wants it and really has a talent. And you never know, you can find your golden egg. But instead, you're just being a money mark and want to sit there and grab all the money for you and take anybody who pays and claim to train them, when at the end of the day, you're not doing them any favors. That to me is a disservice, and it's disgusting as a human being if you do that. Unfortunately, I've seen people like that, and I just kind of, break off from that. Absolutely. I keep as far away as I can from folks like that.
Absolutely. There's a lot of reputable schools over here now as well.
Sure.
When I was looking into it when I was a kid in my teenage years, not that I couldn't do it. I'd be like Bambi on ice, but that's a story for another day. I know I couldn't do it. I haven't got coordination, just like your basic stuff. But the closest school, Rico, was over the border into England years ago.
Wow.
Whereas now, there's a lot of fantastic schools over here. They're getting some really good training. The guys here in the UK, they're really getting, which is great for the business, especially over here and in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows with NXT UK, you know what I mean? You got so much talent. WXW, I followed them for a while. I love to see the UK thrive. Especially since I've had so many friends that have gotten their breaks from Progress Wrestling and you know, companies like that overseas. Like it's amazing. I love seeing wrestling thrive wherever it can. That's definitely on my bucket list, though. I'm trying to get to the UK, whether it be to wrestle, whether it be to commentate. I don't care. I just want to get over there. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole new monster in itself. I want to go over there and kind of see what the scene is like over there in comparison to the States.
We are rabid. Think New York, think Chicago, think Philadelphia for rabid, you know, staunch. Oh my days. And when I've been over to WrestleMania, I've been over to WrestleMania various times over the years. And when we come over, I swear to God, Raw the night after WrestleMania, it's the European people making the noise. It's the UK and some of the
hooligans.
Some of the Americans didn't like it because over the other side of the arena, the travel package people were in a certain area and they're chanting travel package and all this. I hear this American guy behind me. We don't give a fuck about your travel package, and they just kept going all night. And then I turned up to the hotel that WWE had booked for the travel package. I went to the Sheraton in Dallas. It was rabid. I just went for drinks after a show. I think it was the night of wrestling. It was all going on. There was a guy dressed up as Vader. Someone.
That is insane. I believe it though.
Someone turns up. He's old school Shawn Michaels with the white and the red hearts. Out of nowhere, everyone's going crazy. We're all drinking, and he super kicks Vader, this guy, and it's just like,
yes.
There's about
that is phenomenal.
There's probably about 300 people in this sports bar in Dallas in the hotel, and it was just just crazy, just daft.
See, but I like that. I like. Okay, so one of the biggest things that I like about UK wrestling, like when Progress, the chants. The songs that they have and it's not the same fucking chant. Every wrestler has its own individual chant. Like they got the bro. Like I remember when Riddle was over there, he was doing that shit. They'd have the bro chant for him. They have a different one for Walter. They have a different one for whoever's in the ring. I love that soccer hooligan type feel, like vibe for professional wrestling. So fuck that guy that told you guys he didn't give a shit about the travel package.
I was sat in the cheaper seats. I do my own. I just get myself. Yeah. I get myself there and I book everything. I've always done that. I've never done a package per se or done anything like that. I would do wrestling travel though. Justin Clappers does good work.
Hell yeah.
Getting that together. If I was going to go back, I'm going to do one more Mania, Rico. I'm going to do the missus. The missus is going to let me before we have a child. But
yes. She's got to. Let me know. You better let me know.
Oh, man. New Orleans 2014. And it had been Mardi Gras the week before, but people were still partying. Bourbon Street, there was beads getting launched off balconies. It was crazy.
Dude. That's the one I missed.
Oh, man. And the guys went back. The guys went back in 2018. I didn't go to WrestleMania that year. They said it wasn't the same, but it was because there was no Mardi Gras going on. Mardi Gras had been and gone. It was cool, man.
Yeah.
The trips have been amazing. So I'm making it about me. Sorry.
No, dude. No, I love hearing these things because again, why is this interview going on? What's the common thing that binds us? Wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm here to talk wrestling. It's not about Rico De La Vega per se. It's about wrestling because that's the bigger picture. That's the umbrella, right?
I've got to ask you before we go. When you were a fan, when you were a kid. And I hate putting you on the spot because I bet you could tell me 50, 100 matches that you love. Let's stick to three matches, because we said about 3 people earlier.
Okay.
Three matches when you were growing up that still stand the test of time today and you love.
Now, mind you, my wrestling mentality was a lot different as a kid. So this will probably be based more on influential as opposed to like, the moves and all that stuff.
You can change it, yeah.
So definitely if I think and just get one off of my mind, the first one that comes up is Brett and Owen. Brett and Owen.
Absolutely.
From the lead up, from the Royal Rumble when he kicked his leg out of his leg, from there on, and it's like, they started building towards it, dude. What better story was there? Like, they're seriously sibling rivalry, and they brought in Stu. They brought opera. It literally was a like for us, like I remember growing up, you know, as a Latino, my mom watching novelas, which is the equivalent of soap operas in Spanish, right? But our novelas are like 3 months, while like American soap operas, they go for like 30 years and shit. So this was like my equivalent of a novela, because even me and my mother would tune in to watch Raw, to watch any type of show that had to do with continuing that story. Yeah. So on a weekly episodic basis, we're here watching, waiting to see what unfolds all the way up until WrestleMania 10 when they have their big match. And it's like, you can see the aggression, like you can see like when all the family's involved, just the emotion that it's invoking from the crowd, because at that time, there was no internet at that time. I mean, there was, but it wasn't like spoilers and stuff. And there was still a little bit of secretiveness in the business. So you can actually feel like the family being torn apart. My mom's there in tears, like crying and shit. So I'm like, yeah, that was dope. So that's the first one that pops up. And just based on the emotional value.
The best, probably, I'd still say it's the best opening match at a WrestleMania. And I was there for Triple H and Daniel Bryan, for obviously Daniel Bryan then getting into the triple threat. That was a great opening bout. Fantastic. But yeah, I've got it. Brett's my favorite of all time, so I'm with you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Talk about starting out hot.
Brett, his matches do not date. It's
not at all.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see.
That's incredible you say that. You can watch a Bret Hart match back then. You can watch one now. Everything applies. He is your textbook wrestler, in my opinion. It was like
watching you can watch Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, you know, same.
Oh yeah.
Same thing. It's like still looks new now.
But that brings me to my second match, which would be SummerSlam, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect.
91. Yeah.
Yep. SummerSlam, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect. That right there, it wasn't, again, I'm a kid. I'm watching it due to the simple fact that Mr. Perfect's promos were fucking fire. I mean, he was like, it was around the time where he was doing he was catching his own touchdowns and all that shit. So it's like, I'm with it. So yeah, Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart, the chemistry in that ring as an adult, as a wrestler now, phenomenal. Like that is untouched and unmatched. And like you said, it's ageless. That thing is timeless. You put on a match of that caliber now, it's still going to get the same reaction. It's still going to be a great match. But back then, just seeing two guys like Mr. Perfect and Bret the Hitman Hart, who's your typical hero, going at it, it was less cold and calculated, and it was more boom, shot for shot. That's what I like, shot for shot. Fucking Bret hit you with this. Here comes Perfect with the drop kick. Here comes Bret with the counter. Here comes Perfect with this. So I definitely dug that back and forth, because I think that with me, wrestling, the reason it caught my eye, it was like a tennis match. So I'm here like this, like that. I love the excitement. Now third, and definitely not least, ooh, man, The Undertaker. Now, mind you, Undertaker happens to be probably my favorite wrestler, aside from Ultimate Warrior. And there's different reasons. Ultimate Warrior got me watching wrestling.
Absolutely.
Because that's the first character I've ever seen.
I was Warrior over Hogan. That's amazing. That's yeah. You've trumped me. You've trumped me there. If you love for Ultimate Warrior, man. But yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. But yeah, with Ultimate Warrior, it's like basically he got me to see wrestling. Like I saw that like green streak running across the screen, and that's what got me intrigued. I was like, oh shit, he's shaking the ropes, he's running. But the Undertaker, when he debuted with Brother Love, that's when I was like, fuck, man. This guy's big as hell. And then I saw him work, and I was like, this guy doesn't die. I think I like this guy. He's so sinister. I like the fact that he's quiet. Like, he doesn't say a word. So I think the third match that stands out to me, and again, this is because it invoked emotion. I can't talk shit about wrestling because at that age, I wasn't thinking about the moves and stuff. But it would be Undertaker versus Yokozuna, casket match, Royal Rumble. Double deep, double wide. Leading up to it, it was just great how they told that story. And then the ring, the actual match itself, the story that was told about, man, it's going to take all these motherfuckers to shut this lid. Everybody runs down. You see Adam Bomb. You see everybody shut the lid on the Undertaker and stuff. And even though, fun fact, not a lot of people know, it was Marty Jannetty in that little in the fucking little post match where the Undertaker's like ascending.
Yeah,
that was Marty Jannetty wearing the Undertaker garb. But at the time, as a kid, that shit that got to me in the feels because I'm like, this is my favorite wrestler. He can't be dead. I'm like insanely dying, and he's like, I will not rest in peace. I'm like, mommy. It's great.
I was scared. I remember it was before I had Sky Television, which was obviously showing WWF at the time. So a guy in my dad's work used to tape it on VHS. So I had it.
Oh, shit.
But man, I was shit scared. You know when they all came down. It was like holy shit, and it stayed with you. It stays with you now. It's like I was legit scared. Rico.
Goosebumps.
I was 7. Yeah, 1994. So I was 7 at the time, and. Mate, honest to God, it stays with you. That it was so symbolic. You know, he'd absolutely hammered everyone for like 3 or 4 years, hadn't he? Gone through everyone. Then it was like Yokozuna. It was just, he couldn't get the bet, but Yokozuna needed all the heels.
Exactly. That was great. That was phenomenal storytelling looking back. But again, the fact that it invoked emotion, 7-year-old you, little young ass me, I'm crying to my mom. My mom's trying to console me. Yeah, my mom's trying to console me because I'm thinking he's dead. And she's like, no, don't worry, honey. Look, he's going up, so that means he's going to heaven. He'll be back. I'm like, no, that's my favorite wrestler. They can't kill the Undertaker off. And I'm like, no. But no, those 3 definitely for sure, man. Those are probably growing up the ones that invoke the most emotion. That Bret and Owen, because I love that whole vibe of breaking up the family. Great story. Perfect. And Bret Hart, amazing.
It's that
and then The Undertaker.
It's that Cuba that's on Owen's face after he's done the pin. That little white spark on his face. It's like
that's how you know he put in the work.
And then another bit of symbolism for me with Perfect and Bret is when he had the singlet over his shoulder when he beat him. So he's got the belt, but it was just as symbolic was it having the singlet like he'd beaten Perfect, hadn't he? You know, I wanted him to win the IC title.
It's the little things. It's the little things.
And some people don't pick up on it, but years later I'm like, it's like a war trophy. It's like a trophy that he's got. He's beaten Perfect.
Like the infamous one that they show of Owen when he does the pop-up and he fucking just mushes Bret's head and Bret looks at it and is like, yo, motherfucker. He's like, you better chill. That right there, that was a moment where it's like, okay, that's big brother telling little brother, you need to chill the fuck out before I really beat your ass.
That's cool, man. Rico, where can the viewers and the listeners find you on the socials? And plug some stuff that's coming up for us, man.
All right. So let's see. So first off, shout out to the Division. This is a stable I'm part of with a few of my Monster Factory brothers. We were getting up there during right before the pandemic hit, so we haven't been able to fully debut in a full capacity, but at one place. So we're still, building off of that. But right now, the Division's running rampant at the Monster Factory. So let's just say I have some work to do over at the Monster Factory in the next coming months. But aside from that, on social media, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It is at Rico DLV. And on Facebook, you can search Rico De La Vega, and I'm on there as well. So yeah, if anything, shoot me a follow. I'll shoot a follow back. I'm not really above following other people. So, and I always answer my DM. So yeah, man, just hit me up. Pretty much Rico De La Vega is a pretty chill and relaxed guy.
The multifaceted Rico De La Vega, commentator, wrestler, ring announcer. He can do it bilingually as well. He can do it in English. He can do it in Spanish. Yeah, I've loved this, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Just glad Justin got us in touch. And,
100%, man. I really appreciate you reaching out. I love doing these podcasts, and I love just sharing moments when it comes to wrestling, especially with folks that are across seas, because we see things so differently sometimes. It's good to find like common ground with wrestling, man. I definitely enjoyed this.
The fantastic Rico De La Vega there on Stu's Wrestling Podcast for episode 81. What hasn't Rico done? Manager, wrestler, ring announcer, commentator, in Spanish, in English, so many feathers in the man's cap. What a gent, what an absolute gent for coming on. You can catch him on AAW Live out of Chicago. You can also catch him at Gali Lucha Libre. He is wrestling. Shows are obviously starting to become more commonplace since the pandemic, so it was an absolute honour and a privilege to get him on for this week's episode. Thank you for liking, sharing and supporting us as well at Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It's been incredible. We've been getting downloads all over the world, and it's just, I don't know how to put it into words sometimes, but I do appreciate everything from the listeners and the viewers on YouTube as well. So yeah, we're across all platforms on the podcasting areas, so please check us out. Let your friends know of the wrestling as well, that'd be amazing. So this was episode 81 with Rico De La Vega on Stu's Wrestling Podcast, and we'll see you next week.